guys, this is Stormmouse03.
And I'm Praetorian.
Welcome to Ramblings of Mad People. We're already off the rails.
Yeah, we've had some pre-recording problems.
Issues.
But
hey, we're here.
Just to fill people in, my audio jack is completely destroyed. The screen's almost falling off my laptop. I'm going to get a new one, so there may be some technical difficulties.
Oh, boy.
Just how this week is going. And then the internet decided to freeze midway through the intro.
right when we started.
Anyway,
here we are. It's the beginning of September, so we're talking about August.
Yep.
2024. And just as a little bit of a reminder, since last month, we talked about this because it kind of, technically we did most of these games at the end of last month, but we did technically finish 2 games each on the 1st of August. And for me, that was It Takes Two and Seasons After Fall.
And for me, it was It Takes Two, because we did that as a co-op one.
Yeah.
And Medieval.
Yeah. So we talked about that last time, but those, technically, the completions did happen during Ludi XP's 2 plats in 1 minute event thing that we did at the beginning of August, which was cool. So yeah. How was your month? You once again have done more things than I have.
Yeah,
you're sort of on a little charge here.
Yeah, I've declared war on 2024. So yeah, I got 7 plats. And started Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but we'll talk about that next month.
Yeah.
Because we didn't finish it until September. So, yeah, 7. And yourself?
Well, 2. Technically. So I completed a game on Xbox and I got a plat on PlayStation, and then I played 2 of my retro games.
Yeah, so they still count.
Yeah, so 4. I have 4 games to talk about. So you go ahead and kick us off with the month of August and your crazy shenanigans.
So my first game was Life is Strange 2, which means I have platinumed all 4 of the Life is Strange games this year.
Nice.
And I will say that Life is Strange 2 is definitely my least favourite. I didn't gel with the story.
No.
I didn't really like the characters.
No.
I liked the supporting characters more than the main characters. It was just kind of depressing, sadly.
Yeah.
I know most of the Life is Strangers are depressing, but it just felt like it just doubled down continuously.
It was just horrible thing after horrible thing after horrible thing with not very much lightness in between, and there was just nothing about the conclusion that felt like there was anything positive.
It just kind of felt like you were doomed either way, and
yeah,
it's partially your fault and partially not, because events happen at the start and you may cause one, but the rest are not in your control, but it's almost as if you're taking the blame for them. Yeah.
And it was way more political, I think, than
I
the
agree.
others. And I don't know. I just feel like that was a bit of a detriment to it, in my opinion. Because it's not like that isn't immigration issues and racial issues and things like that aren't problems, because they absolutely are. But I don't know. It's just not something that I wanted to. I felt like it was
delivered badly and kind of handled badly.
Yeah.
I would also say I think I was a bit tired of teenage angst. Life is Strange at that point.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they went with older characters in True Colors, and I think, like I've said before, that's why that one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Because they're more mature. and
yes.
Yeah.
And we're more mature, and so I think that
definitely.
we just connect better with the characters when they're not, angsty teenagers.
And then, so that's Life is Strange 2. It's a good point and click game,
Yeah.
and the trophies are reasonable.
Yeah.
They're very,
and I can understand if people really like that one.
Yeah.
But it's just not a story that connected with
It's
me.
just personally, it just doesn't hit the mark. My second game is a puzzle game called Gorogoa. Very short, but very interesting.
That was a recommendation from me.
It was, because it was on sale. And I was like, what's this Gorogoa game? And you were like, play it. And I was like, okay. Because I generally take your advice when you're like, just play it and you'll understand. So
it's hard to describe.
It's like a puzzle game told through 4 windows that you can change perspective with by dragging them over each other, so it will like open up a room or pull you out of a room, and you can like zoom in one room and line it up with another room that you've zoomed out of, where you're like trying to get a ball to drop down from like it. It is difficult to explain, but it's like it's really interesting, and it was a simple story but well executed, and the puzzles, it's just like think outside the box, literally, because you had to like be outside the box sometimes, or zoom in on a picture and you'd have a cog going round which would then move something on a much larger scale. It was not like any other puzzle game I've ever played before. Mechanically, right? And I think the only detriment to it was the 500 moves trophy, because you had to finish the game basically doing the minimum number of moves, and I think it gave you maybe 5 freebies, mess ups. But the trouble is that the mechanics weren't quite sharp enough to have that few, because you could very easily misclick and drag a window like 2 millimeters and it would count as you move that window, even though it's gone back to the same spot.
Right.
But like everything else was great. It's just that one. I think I think it took me like three or 4 attempts. So I would, if you're interested in a slightly more abstract puzzle game, definitely look into that one.
The art style I thought was really cool on it too.
Yes.
I played it on, I haven't done it on PlayStation. I plan to at some point. It is on my wish list. But I just had so many other things on my backlog right now. But I have played it on Xbox. It was on Games Pass for a while.
Yeah, and it was very cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it was like an 80 or 90% sale, so it definitely goes on sale.
Yeah, it goes on sale fairly regularly. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet for me, because I have a lot of things in my backlog. But you were looking for things that were cheap and kind of on the shorter end to complete, and so saw that one and I was like, oh, you should do that, because I think you would like that one. So yeah,
sweet.
So the first thing that I completed in August was actually a game on my Nintendo DS. So it was Toy Story 3, which I purchased recently and procrastinated completing Pokemon Moon by playing Toy Story 3.
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, I know. I started
Paul
Pokemon
Roblox
Moon so
has
long
been
ago.
stuck in a box for like the last century, and he'll never get played. That's the name I forced you to name your Snorlax. He's got lichen growing on him. He's like partially buried underground. He's been deified by some like future cult. But someday he will pancake again.
Yes, at some point I'm going to finish Pokemon, but I had started Toy Story 3 because, I bought it and I was like testing it out, and I liked it. It was fun, and it was fairly short, You know, it had some sections in the DS version. I don't know how the DS version is compared to the other versions that are on consoles. I imagine it might be pretty different. I don't know.
I've played Toy Story 3 on 360. I think it was 360. I played it on the one, but I'm
So
pretty sure.
It had a few different sections. So it started off with like Woody was on a train, and it was like an on rails kind of a thing, and you were having to move around and dodge obstacles on the train and collect little balls.
Yeah, very different.
Yep.
Like Toy Story 3 on like 360 was some like big open world thing where you were like building a town from what I could remember, and there was a bunch of collectibles and...
Yeah, this was totally different. This was like a linear story, and you were kind of going through the story, and you had levels. And you had levels that kind of matched the things that were happening in certain points in the movie. And so you had the Woody on the train section, and then you had a section in the toy room where you were having to get change for Ham to be able to do something. So you were going around the room kind of collecting the coins. And then the sections that I liked the most, they had a couple of these were kind of like tower defense sequences where you had to set up these little like catapults and things where little toys were coming through, and you had to destroy them before they got to your base with the like little catapults and ballistas and things that you would build.
Yeah.
And I really liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was super fun. Defense
Squid Toy Story style.
Yes. And you had Slinky Dog was like the ultimate. So if you were getting overwhelmed, you could call in Slink Dog, and he would like move through the whole area and like destroy a bunch of them.
On a completely different note, my cousin got a Dachshund puppy, and they've called it Slinky.
Oh, that's so cute.
She is very cute.
Oh. So cute. So I used to have a dachshund when I was a kid, and he didn't like me, but
you still played with him even if it was
him.
Against his will.
He liked my parents, and he didn't like me, so he pooped in my room.
Yep. Was it Geordie?
Yeah, his name was Geordie. I named him after Geordie LaForge, who was my favorite character on Star Trek The Next Generation. Because even as a child, I was a super nerd. So,
yeah, me too.
So yeah, I liked Toy Story 3. It was pretty fun. It used the DS controls pretty well, because like you had certain things that you had to use the stylus for, and yeah, there were a bunch of different types of gameplay. There were a couple of sections where you were like Buzz, flying through a section and having to like shoot things and like asteroids and stuff. And then there was even a part where Buzz was kind of mind controlled, right? And he was fighting aliens, and so it was kind of a first person shooter type of thing where he was like shooting at aliens. like
in the like movie where he gets like reprogrammed.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's exactly the part that it was. So yeah, it was interesting. I liked it. It was short, it was simple. And it was the first thing that I completed in August. So, and it's the first of my retro bingo games.
Hey.
So I can cross off the DS from my retro bingo.
So we're going to go back one movie to Toy Story 2 for my third game, which that's just funny. So this is Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, and it's a port of the PS1 version. I think that they've updated the graphics, but it's pretty much the same game, and I loved it. It's like the nostalgia for me for that game. It's one of the first game I got 100% in. I don't know whether it was that one or Spyro 1, but they're the two. Yeah. It's just running around the levels I remember as a kid, and like actually remembering partially where some of the collectibles are, like 20 years later, I was like, oh yeah, there's a battery here. Or like, oh, this is where one of the little egg people is hidden. Or like completely forgetting like 2 levels and going, oh wow, there's another level here. Cool. The trophies were nice and reasonable. I did the 100% again, even though I didn't need to, because nostalgia was like, do it. So I did.
You must.
Very, very PS1 era controls. Like, the jumping was not always the best, but the rewind feature was so nice. When you plummet off a tree, you've spent 2 minutes or 3 minutes climbing up, and you just go, no, I'm just going to rewind.
We're not going to climb up that again.
I'm not climbing up that again.
Yep.
Love it. Like, it's such a nice feature.
Cool. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to playing some older games with that feature. You know?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more, and I'm hoping that some of those like PS plus higher tier exclusives will eventually become like purchasable.
Yeah, because some of them are and some of them aren't.
Yes, so I'm hoping it'll be like a timed exclusivity.
Right, for the service. Yeah.
Yeah, for the PS Plus Premium? I think that's the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the top one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
That was Toy Story 2. It kind of follows the... Oh, and it also had the movie clips in, but they were like VHS levels of bad.
That's amazing.
Like they hadn't like upped them to Blu-ray scale or anything. It was just like, wow. I used to think this was, because it's funny, like I always remember the original like trilogy of Star Wars that we had on VHS, and then when we got them on DVD, I was like, wow, the quality is so much better. And then you realize that like Blu-ray or 4K, you're like, oh my god, I thought that was good. And now it's like shiny and amazing looking, and the DVD's like a bit fuzzy, and it's just funny how like, because you didn't know there was any higher quality to come, you thought it was the most amazing thing ever.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And so my next game was talking about an upgrade, the PS5 version of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I like that game. I was like, I'll play it. It was on a bit of a sale, not amazing, but I was in the mood for something short again, so it's pretty much exactly the same game. It's just better graphically, and they added 2 trophies. And I don't know if that's to like bump it up enough to be able to have a platinum this time, because the original didn't. Because I don't know exactly like the point system.
What their rules are with platinum trophies. It just feels like everything is different. And
well, I think they like for collections now they aren't gonna have platinums for each thing, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
Because like the Tomb Raider one on PS5, it's like it doesn't have a platinum, yet the PS4 versions do.
Right.
I don't.
Like, why?
Yet they'll churn out loads of like Stroke the Turtle things with plats.
Right.
But like real games like Tomb Raider, because they're in a collection, don't
even get one.
Don't even get
like,
one, let alone 3.
Yeah, that's
like,
stupid.
I was curious as to like why they put 2 more in. I don't know, but they're like very generic ones where it's like score a goal with the like basketball and spin a sheep until it throws up.
Oh, yeah. Poor sheepy.
I know, right? It's like, okay.
That's mean.
But yeah, like...
Why do trophies want you to do mean things?
I don't know. I think it says more about the developers than it does about other people.
Yeah, right? Like, here, do this thing. Isn't it funny? Ha 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 ha. Blow up this mouse in the or hamster in the microwave.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you want me to do that, game?
Are you talking about Day of the Tentacle remastered?
Yes. That isn't funny. That's horrible. That gives me nightmares.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it makes me feel like a horrible person.
But anyway, Brothers, I've played twice before. I enjoyed it again. I mean, if you haven't played the PS4 versions, play the PS5. It is it's a good point and click event. Point and click adventure.
Yeah, I mean it has mechanics.
Yeah, so it's not point
right?
and click. It's
with having to.
It's like I'd say an adventure game.
Yeah.
Because it's not It's not. It does have action sequences.
Is it a platformer? Kind of.
Kind of. In places.
Or like a puzzle.
Yeah. Puzzle adventure game. It definitely has puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go with puzzle adventure game. Platformer.
Light.
Action. Light. Definitely not RPG.
Definitely not first person shooter.
Yeah. Or third person. So that was Brothers.
Nice. My next one was over on Xbox. I finished the GTA Definitive Edition trilogy with my favorite one, San Andreas. And as I was playing it, I was like, I think this might be my favorite GTA game just because it has the most, I think, nostalgia for me. It was the first one where it really felt like the world got significantly bigger and there were more things to do and there were more like almost like RPG elements where you took him to the gym and worked out and he got muscular, or you ate a bunch of food and he got fat, CJ, the main character, and you swapped clothes, which you could do that in the other, at least in Vice City you could. I don't know if you could in GTA 3. But
and I feel like that's kind of what they built on for like GTA 5. Where
yeah,
they'd done it
for
in
sure.
San Andreas and then it became slightly changed, but
yeah. And so, you went on dates with different people and those different people gave you different like perks and stuff. So that was how you I think one of the ladies that you could date worked at the hospital, and so that was how you got to go to the hospital for free if you got killed. And one of the ladies was a cop, and so that was how if you got arrested you could keep all your weapons and money and stuff. And so like it was just an interesting way of doing things. GTA Romance Simulator. Yeah, it was an interesting way to do things, but I like the story of it a lot as well. I think that, it's got Samuel L. Jackson in there as one of the antagonists, and James Woods also did a voice in there. He was Torino, and so it had a couple of actors that I really liked.
This makes me think of Family Guy with James Woods.
And so, like, it wasn't overly long, but it wasn't super short either. I think it hit around that, like, 50 to 60 hour mark, which, there were a few things that I think were a little bit too grindy, like trying to take over all the gang territories toward the end. Especially, like, and I knew this because I'd played the game before, but if you had taken those over earlier in the game, like when they first became available, then you had to do them again at the end of the game because they get retaken over as part of like what happens in the story. And so it's like you could have wasted a bunch of time at the beginning trying to take over those territories and then have to do that all again at the end to try to like get the 100%.
That's what I do like about playing a game that I've played before, is knowing what things to do, what things not to do, and
Yep.
It's just interesting.
Yeah, you feel like you're just a lot more efficient, with things when you have played them before. So, in any case, I really liked GTA San Andreas. I will say I could definitely tell with the definitive edition on this one especially, where just some of the character models look weird. And I don't know why that happened with these definitive editions, right? I don't know if it was like that for the others.
They just kind of like import them onto a frame that didn't really work, and so they got distorted, kind of.
Maybe, or they like tried to up the resolution and it just made everybody look cartoony and weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they did. Really.
Maybe they were just lazy.
Yeah, I think it was just lazy porting. But like the port of the game looks a lot better, I think, than the definitive edition where they like tried to redo the graphics and just did a bad job. So
yeah.
But other than that, and that didn't bother me too much. Other than that, it played fine. You know, I didn't have any problems with it gameplay wise. It had enough of the radio stations and stuff still in it that I was like, yeah, I like this music. You know, put it on the.
It is sad when they lose the licensing to stuff.
Yeah. So this is why I still have my old Xbox versions of them all, and so you know I can go back and replay those.
That's why I've kept my brother's version of Vice City for PS2, because I remember he would just drive around and I'd watch him play, and we'd listen to all of the 80s or 70s.
I think it's 80s. I think it's 80s,
yeah, all the 80s music. So I just have the nostalgia for the music because I didn't really play the game. And so with that removed, I'd be like, well, there goes my enjoyment.
I mean, they still have some of them, you know, but it's not nearly as many, I don't think. I don't know. I haven't looked at the, like, comparison of how much
I know that they did lose quite a few.
But it feels like there's really not a whole lot. Like, it cycles through the songs on those radio stations very quickly on the others. And it's not as bad on San Andreas. In any case, it was cool replaying through it, and it was nice getting the completion on that and having the complete trilogy done now, because I did the other two last year. So finishing this one off this year, and yeah, it was good.
My next game was Lego Incredibles. I really didn't enjoy this one. Yeah. I mean, I've played a few Lego games this year. I played Lego Movie Video Game and Lego Ninjago Movie Video Game. Maybe I'm burnt out with Lego. I think I'm burnt out with superhero stuff. I really enjoyed the first Incredibles movie, but for some reason they put the second one first and then did the first one second in the like story of this one. So you play through the second movie first, and then it's like, and then they do the first movie second as like a flashback kind of thing. And I don't really understand, but I kind of understand maybe why they did that, because it came out around the time the second movie released, and so they maybe were trying to, people who watch the movie will play the game, and they may have not watched the first one because it's quite old at this point, so we'll put that one. No, why? Just put the first one first so it makes sense.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make any sense. And I remember when you were playing it, at first you thought they didn't have the first one in it at all.
Yeah, because it starts with the Underminer, like right at the end of the first movie. When he pops up, and then I think that's what starts the second movie. I've kind of partially erased the second movie from my filing cabinet.
Yeah, I know. The second movie definitely was not as good. I think I didn't dislike it as much as you did.
Yeah, but I'm also in that, like, meh superheroes meh kind of mindset at the moment.
Fair.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to play it and get it. I was like, I'll play it and get it done. And that's never a good mindset to go in when playing something. It's got too much open world. Like, after having played the other two where they have a more streamlined open world, so it's like a section and a section and a section, this is like a big city.
Yeah.
And then you have to like fight these crime waves and then beat a crime boss to then open up the city section, And you have to do that with every single section of the city. And they all feel kind of like, I've done this already. Please stop. And then they had these challenges that would get you gold bricks, where it was like, put out 20 fires with Frozone, or some other character that could fire ice at things, or like use 20 wells, because for some reason they put 20 wells in. There's like, they spawn in specific locations, but it's like, okay, now you just mash circle to pull the well handle and get some money. Great. Like 95% of those were tracked on the map, where it's like, oh, you've done all the challenges in this area. No, you haven't. There's like 2 or 3, because I got to the end and I was 3 or 4 gold bricks short, and I was like, I think it's glitched. I don't know where these are. They're not on the map anywhere. And then I just happened to walk past a flaming car and went with Frozone, and it went 18 of 20. And I was like,
so there were little challenges that weren't.
Where is that tracked? Why is that not on? It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Of like, you just look at it and go, what haven't I done? What am I missing? Well, you're missing some challenges, but we're not going to tell you which ones you've missed. And that was just like the nail in the coffin at the end, where I was like, I am so done with you. I hate you. I want to be done. Why? Where you feel like, I'm done. The game's glitched. I hate everything. I'm going to have to redo this whole save file up to 100%. Because I was on like 99.7 or something. And then that noise internally. Yeah. You know, like when your PlayStation crashes, it's that noise. Wow, the waveform on that thing looks great, by the way. So yeah, I'm just like, I don't know whether I want to play Lego games anymore unless they're things that I really like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. They're doing a remaster of Harry Potter for PS5, the Lego versions, and I'm just like, why? Can you not do some of the other ones that were good, like the Batman trilogy, or... Because the original Batman trilogy, someone was saying, on one of the Discords I'm on, didn't even have trophies.
Really?
Do that
the Lego
one.
Batman?
Yeah, the first one, because it came out on PS3 before, and then they didn't retroactively put them on. Why not do that one?
Yeah.
Oh, but Harry Potter's popular, I guess. I guess because they've released the Quidditch game, and Hogwarts Legacy's been fairly recent. But yeah.
Right.
So that's my tirade at Lego Incredibles. It's not a terrible Lego game. I just didn't enjoy the experience. If you like the Incredibles, it's a decent Incredibles game.
Yeah.
But if you're me, well, no. If you're Dormouse, and I say I'm going to play something like that again, shoot me with a tranquilizer or a taser. Like, just be like, don't do it, Rob, please.
I will try to stop you.
Okay, on a much happier note, I got my 150th platinum in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yay!
Which is still in my top 5 games after playing it again.
Yeah.
I still love it. It's not perfect, but I had a lot of fun. I played as a mage, Knight Enchanter, in both runs, because when I did it originally, I played as a sword and board fighter, but I was like, I want to get back into practice with the mage, and it was great fun. It was almost like I was running around as a wizard in D&D with like Misty Step and Magic Missile and Fireball and Shield. And like,
and you were like, I want to play D&D wizard again.
No, I do. I would just want to blow shit up because that's fun. But like, I like the world. I like the story. It had great supporting characters and companions, because some of them didn't come with you, but you were
Right.
equally as invested as much time into their side plots as you do with your companions.
Right. Like with Josephine
and Leliana
and
Cullen.
Mhm.
I also so they need to elect a new religious leader for reasons of plot, and 3 of your companions are potential candidates. I'd never had Cassandra get put up because of my choices within the game don't fit with her getting put forward. However, I manipulated events. So I didn't recruit Vivian because she can. I was her anyway, and I was the better version of her because she's for class because she's the Knight Enchanter, and so I was like, well, I'm already that, so I don't need one. And also,
and she's the only companion that you just really despise.
She's just awful. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah. Wow, you're this amazing mage person that disagrees with pretty much everything I say anyway. How about I don't recruit you?
How about no?
And then, sadly, I didn't do Leliana's side stuff because if I did Leliana's side stuff, she'd get Divine instead. And so I was just like, maybe if the only candidate is Cassandra, it will be Cassandra. And it was. So my test worked out well.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think my only complaints kind of with it is that some of the areas are a little bit too big and too similar, where it's there's 3 desert areas. It's yeah, I like desert areas, so that's kind of okay for me, but it's yeah, maybe there's a few too many. And a bit of busy work where it's close fade rifts, do the shards, do these astrariums. But to be fair, you don't have to 100% every single area. It's do these things in the vast majority of them and you'll be fine. Well, but you have to do all the astrariums and the shards, but the fade rifts, you can do the vast majority in some of the lower level areas, and then you'll get ones that are part of the story that count. And so,
yeah, you don't have to do every single one.
Yeah. Just and they give you XP and higher end crafting materials.
Yeah. It would have been nice if the open world stuff was a little bit less repetitive and a little bit more enjoyable.
And the problem is that they then used that for Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
And it was worse, I think, in Andromeda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say that the Golden Nug, you'll understand in a second, made Nightmare difficulty trivial. So the Golden Nug is a statue that you can click on that will share any schematic that you've acquired in a playthrough with every other playthrough that you do. So I was able to get the Trespasser DLC highest tier armor, weapons and stuff schematic, and then share that with my character that I was starting off on my Nightmare run. And so I just made the tier 1 material version of those things. And I just was kicking everyone's ass.
That's really cool.
And so as I went through, I got the tier 2 version, and then I skipped tier 3 and got the tier 4.
Nice.
Because, actually no, I think I skipped tier 4 and just did tier 3 because the damage scaling was 130 to 134. So it was well, it's way more expensive. So I'll just do the lower version. And I wasn't struggling with damage or dying, so that's a piece of advice. If you're going to do Nightmare, do an easy run first, and then transfer your schematics over through the power of the Golden Nug.
The power of the Golden Nug.
I just love that it's a Golden Nug.
I know.
Nugs are these little mole rat creatures that are kind of cute. They're
I think a cross between a rat and a rabbit.
Well, then They kind of look naked though, so they're almost like a
But
naked
yeah.
mole rat.
Yeah. Naked mole rat mixed with bunny.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's what I think. But yeah, I played a Kunari, which is a big grey lady with horns. I played a female Inquisitor. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I did all the DLC, including all the trials stuff. But I did it early, so it didn't feel too bad. Like I did the 2 runs. One you have to get to a place called Haven before level 5, so you have to like put a half XP trial on to do that, and then for the other one you need to get to basically like I guess midway through the main story with all of your companions present, having one that like doubles their positive or negative it's in my affinity. There we go. Yeah, my brain just kind of melted. But yeah, that was my 6 of 7 plats for the month.
Yeah, and your 150th, which is crazy because you started the year off with 100.
No, I started the year off with 99.
I know, but like the first one of the year was 100.
Yeah, the first one of the year was Demon Souls.
Yeah, and so, 50 plats at that point, which is totally crazy.
And not all of them were short.
Yeah. I mean, the Dragon Age wasn't short. Like,
well, neither was Red Dead and The Witcher 3.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying the one that you were just talking about was also.
Like I would say Dragon Age is probably up in my like top 5 longest games I've done this year.
Yeah, for this year. Cool. So the next game that I did, oh boy.
Best game ever.
So it's a PS2 game, so this is my second retro game for the past month, for August. And so I was like, I'll do a PS2 game. And I guess I didn't actually plan on doing a PS2 game, because if I had, I probably would have played something else that I have in my backlog that is better than this. But I had just picked this up from the pawn shop for like $1, and I wanted to test it out. And I started playing it, and then I was like, well, I'll just play it, because it was short. It was Frogger the Great Quest.
Amazing.
Oh, the controls were so janky. And I liked, the colorfulness of it. And it was kind of an interesting, weird story. So the idea was Frogger overheard these kids talking about, like, the story of the Princess and the Frog. Right, where this princess kissed a frog and he turned into a prince. And he was like, oh, if I find a princess to kiss me, then I'll turn into a prince. And so he's on, like, because that logic is undeniable. And so the whole, like, quest through this place is that he's trying to find a princess. And like every level that you go through is kind of like, oh, there's someone who can tell you about a princess here, and then you get to the end of the level and they're like, oh no, that's not the right princess. And I think
was she in another castle?
No, it's like, this isn't the right princess for you, or this isn't the one that you're looking for. And the funniest one I thought was when you get to the end after doing this like section on a kind of pirate boat or whatever, you fight the captain, and then you talk to him and you're like, I want to know where the princess is. He's like, well, you're standing on her, and princess is the name of the ship.
The love boat.
And so I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting, kind of weird little story. It was not a traditional like Frogger game, which is why I thought it was kind of interesting. It was a 3D collectathon adventure game, kind of like Banjo-Kazooie style type thing, except much worse.
Sadly.
Sadly. Yeah, the controls were so janky.
For
In some
good,
sections,
Super Mario 64, only worse.
Yeah. In some sections, I could barely, like, get through because I just couldn't make a jump work the way that it was supposed to. And it's like, and I know that, like, I'm not the best at platformers or 3D platforming or whatever, but it really was the controls on this one that were just holding me back.
It wasn't a Spyro problem.
It wasn't a Spyro problem where my brain just wasn't working. It was literally the controls are bad. And, like, I looked it up because I needed to look up a little guide at a certain point because I could not figure out what I needed to do.
They were like, you have to break the game.
It was like, you need to go here. And it's like, how? You have to jump over this thing. How? And so, I don't know. Anyway, I looked up a little guide, and when I was looking up stuff about it, it was like, people were like, this controls horribly, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yep.
You're like, see, it wasn't me.
See, it wasn't just me. But I did roll credits on it. And I had to do the last level twice because on the credits, the first time, it froze.
Yep. Yeah. I remember you going, and then it froze on the credits.
It was like the last 3 seconds too.
Yeah.
Because what I did was, because it had a couple of scratches, because, you know, I bought it from the pawn shop and it was kind of scratched up. And for the most part, it played through fine. But it skipped a little bit on the opening cutscene, and then it froze on the ending cutscene. And so I looked up the cinematic to just watch it on YouTube, and it literally was like 5 seconds more after it had frozen. And so when I got to the end the second time I played through that level, I just skipped the cinematic, and so that I could get the, like, end stats right and get the clear game.
Yep.
So
You wanted that little stamp.
I did. I wanted the clear.
Makes me think of so many me when I played that. It didn't crash on the credits, but they put collectibles on the credits. So I had to replay the last level again because I missed one. And I was like, right, I won. Why have you done this to me?
Why did you do this to me? Yeah, so I could have played any other PS2 game in my collection, but the first one that I finished on my little bingo challenge is Frogger the Great Quest. Cha-chink.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Okay, so after the about 100 hours of Dragon Age, I decided to do a nice shorty again. The remaster of Full Throttle, which is I think a LucasArts point-and-click adventure about like a biker gang. They're the ones that did like Day of the Tentacle Remastered and Secrets of Monkey Island. And it's just that I like those old style point-and-click adventures, especially with updated graphics.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know, they have a bunch of pop culture references and some of the things you combine to do stuff just like don't make sense, but they work, kind of thing.
Yeah, it is silly and it's fun.
Yeah, and it was just an enjoyable little point-and-click adventure, except for one little section where you have to like go on this. It's basically like a circular road that has like other bikers on it, and you have to fight different bikers to get different weapons to be able to get the one that you need. So it's like you have to fight one guy to get a chain, and then you need a chain to knock someone out so you can get their chainsaw, and then you need the chainsaw to be able to get this wooden it's just basically like a piece of wood that's long enough for you to be able to whack this guy that you need to be able to get his like helmet that you can then see through a wall in the canyon. But it crashed like 2 or 3 times on that section, where it was like I got knocked off my bike because I was fighting the wrong person, because it's random as to which person you get. So it's like if you get the wrong person and you can't beat them, then you'll lose, and it will knock you off your bike and then you restart, kind of thing. But it crashed a couple of times in that section for whatever reason. I also glitched through the bike, so I was behind the seat. So my character model was there, but all you could see were these 2 arms behind the seat, like whacking people. I was like, yeah, I felt like this section probably was janky in the original, and then when they like remastered it, the coding was still a bit dodgy.
Off, yeah.
But other than that, fun experience. Would recommend if you want like a 3-hour completion point-and-click adventure retro style.
Neat. Cool. Well, my last one of the month was another retro game, but this one is one that did have a platinum because it's on PS3, and it was my first PS3 completion. And this one, unlike Frogger, was a good one. It was the original God of War.
When you were doing the build-up to Frogger, I thought you were talking about God of War, and I was like, I don't remember Dorval saying it was that bad. And then when you went, it was Frogger, I was like, that's why. Now it all makes sense.
That's funny. So
Kratos is looking for his princess.
Kratos is looking for his princess.
If he'd have been on the one where it's like, oh yeah, the ship's called Princess, he would have eviscerated the captain and thrown his bones over the side.
Yes. He would have ripped his spine from his body and then blown up the ship. No. So it was the original God of War, and so I've played from the God of War series. I've played God of War 3 remastered on the PS4. That was the first one that I played. And then I played God of War 4, technically, I guess. The first of the rebooted.
Yeah, is it 2018?
It's not
2016?
rebooted, it is, yeah, something like that.
I always get the year wrong. It's one of those two.
2016, 2018, something like that. And so I played that one. And
it's almost like a soft reboot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because it is a continuation, but it's different mechanics. It's a different style of gameplay, and it's in a different area with different mythology and a different god pantheon and that sort of thing, right? So, yeah, it's a continuation of Kratos' story, but it's also
different god pantheon because there isn't anybody left in the other one.
Aphrodite.
Is that it?
That's it. I mean, there's the Greek pantheon is huge.
I know.
So there's definitely
I'm just thinking
of the main
Olympian pantheon, like the 12 or whatever it is.
Not many. Artemis, is Artemis one of them?
Yeah.
I don't think she's dead. We don't kill her.
Okay.
So
Athena?
No.
I didn't think so. I mean, I know Zeus and Ares and
Zeus. Zeus. Yeah. So, I remember God of War 3, and I did a video on this where I was talking about it, and like I really liked the controls and everything. But the story was just it just seemed like super hyper violent and gory, and he was just so angry and so hell-bent on vengeance or whatever, and I was like, it just felt weird, and I thought, okay, maybe this is because I haven't played the other 2 games and I haven't seen the lead up to this, and I don't know why it is that he's so pissed at these people, that he's doing these horrible things, and it's like vengeance or nothing and whatever. So I was like, I want to play the first ones, And since I got the PS3, I was like, great, I'll play the first two. So this was the first one of those, and I really liked the story from the first game. I thought it was really well done. It made a lot of sense. I mean, I knew the whole backstory going into it because you know I had seen it in other things, and you know it's referenced in God of War 3.
I mean, it's a long time not to be spoiled, considering how long
exactly,
ago those came
right?
out.
So we'll put a little spoiler flag right now. So you know the whole backstory with Kratos is that he was a Spartan warrior, and he was fighting this barbarian king, and he and his Spartans were about to be killed and decimated by them, and he calls out to Ares to save him and help him defeat his enemies, and he will be his warrior if he does that. And Ares is like, yeah, I see potential in this guy. And so Ares comes down, he saves Kratos' life, and Kratos becomes his war machine effectively from that point on, right? And so he fights all these people and just bathed in blood, and he's like, you know, the on earth representation of Ares' will, right? And at some point Ares is like, I need you to focus only on doing my bidding. And so he has him go after this town, and they kill everybody and burn it to the ground, and it's only in the aftermath that he realizes that his wife and child were there and he had killed them. Wow.
That's grim.
Yes. And basically the oracle from that town, because it was like it was for another god. I think it was for Athena. It was a town that worshipped another god. And I think it was Athena, but I could be mistaken. But the oracle from that town was like, you know, you'll remember this forever. And that's how his skin became white, is because the ashes of his dead family got permanently attached to his skin.
I thought that was the case. I was like, I'm pretty certain his skin was ash colored because it's the ash of his dead family, but that's the only bit I know. And so I was like, maybe that's not right, but it is.
Yeah. And so
he became the Goliath barbarian because he's got grey skin and rages.
He's got grey skin. Yes, exactly. And so, and he's bald. And
all makes sense. Kratos should play that. We should make a barbarian called Kratos. That's
Kratos. So I mean, yes, obviously that is horrible, and I completely understand and am behind his quest to get vengeance on Ares, because Ares orchestrated that so that he would have no ties to the mortal realm, so that he could focus fully on doing Ares' will, right? So that he would lose the ties to his family, which is horrible and evil, and am fully behind, let's murder the shit out of this guy. Yeah, and very great god. Yeah, no, totally. And so Ares then goes on this quest to defeat. Did I say Ares? Kratos goes on this quest to defeat Ares, and Athena is like helps him through this thing, and she kind of guides him and helps him get power, and a bunch of the other gods do too. So like Zeus gives him some of his magic, and I think Artemis maybe gives him some of her magic, and because that's where he gets the like bow, and he just gets different powers from different gods that help him do various things, and because Ares is like out of control, and he's wreaking havoc, and he's destroying Athens and whatever. And so the gods are like, he needs to be reined in, and so they all help Kratos do it. I thought it was really good. That story of vengeance, I think, made perfect sense. You were targeting the person who had directly wronged you, and
it wasn't just indiscriminate violence against.
It wasn't just
the gods.
Yeah, indiscriminate violence against the gods and whatnot. And you know, I I'll talk about 2 when we get there, because we haven't gotten there yet, because I didn't play that in August. But because I played this toward the end of August, God of War 1, but I enjoyed the story of the first one. I thought it was really good. The controls were definitely not as good as 3. Like, the controls for God of War 3 were amazing. Very tight, very responsive, really good combos and stuff. And, like, even playing it on the hardest difficulty, like, it was challenging, but it was doable. For this one, there were just some things that, like, opening a door, you had to click the right trigger over and over and over again to, like, push the door up. And they changed that. Spoilers, I've played God of War 2 now. But they changed that in God of War 2 so that it's circle that you're pressing.
Well, that makes way more sense.
Because that makes way more sense. It's
For
like
me,
not
anything
wearing
that
out your
requires you
trigger.
to use the sticks. Did you say stick or trigger?
Trigger.
Oh, trigger.
was
Sorry,
a
I was thinking
trigger.
it was clicking the stick in.
Yeah, no.
Can you imagine that?
It's R2, it's the trigger.
Yeah.
And so it's like the trigger is just not as responsive as a button. And like trying to mash that over and over and over again, number 1, it wears out your trigger, and number 2, it's just not as responsive a lot of times, and so it just takes forever to get it to open the stupid door. So I don't know, they made some weird choices in terms of the control scheme for the first one that they definitely fixed and made better in the second and third game.
Nice.
And the third game perfected. But talking about God of War 1, it was good. It was fun. I really liked the story. The challenge mode thing was a couple of them were quite difficult, I'll say. You know, there was especially the last one where you had to like basically knock everybody off or kill everybody on this tiny platform. And every one of them that you killed, it raised the platform up a little bit. And so you had to raise it up enough so that you could jump to another platform that was up higher. But you kept getting knocked off for, you know, sometimes it felt like no reason. The enemies were annoying. Some of the most annoying ones. These satyr enemies that just are irritating, and it just felt like such a tiny platform that you had to work with. But I tell you what, I got good at parrying. So we'll say that for it, is that it forced me to get good at doing the parries.
It sounds like it's one of those where you need to master all aspects of the game to actually get through, which is kind of cool but also annoying.
Right, especially because I just played it through on easy, I think, to play through the story mode, so nothing was very challenging at all.
And then suddenly you're thrown in the deep end.
And then suddenly I have to parry? What? I have to know mechanics? What are you talking about, game?
Mashing buttons.
I was just casually murdering everything, and now I have to actually be good at stuff? What are you talking about? But yeah. So there were a couple of them, and not just that one. There was another one or two that were kind of challenging to get through. But that one for sure at the end was difficult, and I think more difficult than the Challenge of the Gods in God of War 3 was. Just in my opinion, because I think the mechanics work better in God of War 3, and so I don't think I found those as difficult as the ones from God of War 1. So, but if you can get through that, it's a fun plat.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the first God of War.
Yeah. I would say I think the story of the first one is better than the story of the third one.
And the second one we'll find out next month.
And the second one we'll find out next month. And but the gameplay is way better in the third one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny how that kind of happens. It's like the story gets worse for the third one, but the gameplay's better. Like Mass Effect 3.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like the gameplay for Mass Effect 3 is probably the best out of the three, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's
I'd
also
agree.
the worst, story-wise, for me. Like,
Yeah, it's Mass Effect 3 is such a dichotomous game because I feel like it's some of the best and also the worst writing.
yeah. Anyway, we'll fall into that rabbit hole another time.
No, we don't want to fall into that rabbit hole again. But anyway, I did really enjoy the story of the first God of War that I played on my PS3, and I'm happy that that's my first PS3 plat. So.
Yes.
Woohoo! So, anything else for you, or was that?
No, I think that was my 7 because we did 2, 2, 2, and 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you did a few more things than I did.
Almost double, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, really, like I'm heading for 7,000 trophies.
Mm-hmm.
That's my next. See if I can get this done this year.
Yep.
Aim.
Yeah. You're trying to get 75, 76 games, 76 platinums.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I ended the month on 151.
Yep. And
that gives me a third of the year left from that point.
Right.
I'm not spoiling anything as to what I've done this month, other than Black Flag. But
right, yeah.
Because obviously we're recording this in...
We started Black Flag in August, and we started it at the same time because we were doing the multiplayer together.
Yeah.
And so that was a whole
that was a whole thing. Yeah, we'll
talk about.
I think we'll talk
month,
about the whole thing. Also, TT and TA had an alphabet challenge that they announced at the end of August to start in September that we both signed up for. So that'll be next month as well.
Yeah, that we'll talk about that. But yeah, the alphabet challenge is really cool, and we both kind of prepped a little bit for that going into September.
Yes.
Because they had announced it, and it was going to start September 2nd, and so we kind of took the last day or two of August to try to
figure some stuff out.
The things that we were going to do for that. So yeah, fun discussions to come for September.
But yeah, August was another good month. I'm averaging a lot of plats. You
are, yeah. After you got through the first third of the year, where you did some The Witcher 3 and Red Dead 2 and some of
the thing
really
March I didn't get any,
ones.
And then I hit April and was just if I'm gonna hit big goals this year, I have to hammer, continuing. And then I went, well, I've hammered really hard, I might as well just keep going and see how far I get.
Yeah.
Because this is my one big opportunity. Because I've burnt through so many of my shorties that I wouldn't conceivably be able to replicate this year.
Yeah.
Again.
Unless you got a bunch more shorties.
Which is unlikely, because the vast majority of the shorter games that have released already that I would want to play, I've already got.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to wait for more to release, because I don't want to play games that I have no interest in. Just for score.
Just to get plats.
Because I did that once or twice on Xbox and went, no, not again.
Yeah. Well, because it just feels empty.
It does.
Right?
It feels like there's nothing there. No.
Yeah.
It just feels hollow. I didn't do this because I wanted to play it. I didn't do this because sometimes you play a game, you don't enjoy it, but it was recommended, or you picked it up because you thought you would, but it's not like the experience there was hollow. Whereas I picked up a game and then did it and went, why did I even buy that? I only bought that because I wanted to get 1000G.
Right. Yeah. And then you just feel kind of ugh.
Yeah.
You feel kind of hollow and icky and whatever. So, yeah. I don't know.
And that's why
not fun. And so
that's kind of why I came up with caveats for what I'm doing this year. Is like no, I want to keep my 1 hour completion game. My please don't touch anything. And so no auto pops. I don't want to do the same game that I've done once already this year. The only caveat to that was Raji because it didn't have a platinum. I've talked about this before on several of the podcasts, but and also, no like shovelware, like straight the tortoise, or I don't want to do My Name Is Mayo because I have no interest in that game.
Right, yeah. Like
it's basically press circle repeatedly for platinum, and it's like nah.
Yeah.
Like I'll play like Hidden Through Time, where it's literally like you press a few buttons to click on things, but you have to look for them.
Right, because that's a game that has something that's interesting to you because it's like a search. Yeah, it's a Where's Waldo kind of a thing, and so it's like a little puzzle game thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that interests you, or like the couple of visual novels that I did.
Precisely.
I did because I was interested in them, not because I just wanted a quick platinum. Because I could have gotten those platinums super fast because you can just skip through the entire story.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that. They took 8 or 10 hours to finish them because I was reading the story because that's why I bought them. And I think that it's okay to have something that's short or something that's easy as long as it's something that you want to do.
Like Gorogoa. It's like that's a few hours.
Yeah.
But I did it because I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
And also, like, sometimes you'll play, like, a short game because you got it free. And it's like, I feel like playing that, and I got it for free. I wouldn't otherwise buy it, but I've got it, so I'll play it.
Right, yeah. Like, I've done that with a few of the things on, Games Pass, or that we got from PS Plus, or Games with Gold, so, yeah.
But yeah, well, my future plans are just to continue as I have been, hammer some plats out, do some longer games as and when I feel like it, and see where I end up. Hopefully not on fire, crashed and burned in the corner, like a gibbering mouther.
That's funny, and and I feel good about where I'm at too. I didn't do as many things in August, but I did hit 3 of my bingos because I hit the DS, I did the PS2, and I also am gonna count God of War on PS3 as my center bonus game because I didn't put PS3 on the bingo card because I didn't have a PS3 when I made it.
Yeah.
And so
you
I had
should put
like
PS3 in that.
The gamer's choice.
You can
so I'm
change
gonna
it.
put PS3 and I'm gonna put God of War, and so that's gonna be my center completion.
Sweet.
So yeah, I crossed 3 things off of my retro games bingo card, which was cool. And GTA San Andreas was also not short. So that took up several weeks.
And that version you have to do more for the trophies than the 360 version that I played. There wasn't as many things to do because it has a different list of trophies and achievements. Right.
Yes, you needed to do a little bit more. Because I don't know that you needed to get 100%.
No, I don't think you did.
On the port to the 360, because I played that one as well.
And I think you only had to go on one date. You didn't have to date everybody.
Yeah, and on this one you had to make sure you got one date with everyone, and some of them were missable, so you needed to make sure that you got them as soon as you could, and whatnot. So, yeah, you had to do a lot more for the completion for the definitive edition. So, yeah, August was good. September has started off well as of the recording of this. And so hopefully the end of the second third of the year will continue as planned and do well.
We'll do a 75% of the year wrap up at the end of September.
We will. We will.
Because we've
Second,
done...
third. I meant the third quarter. Oh gosh, it's not 2/3. It's 3/4 of the year.
End of August is 2/3. So that was correct.
Yeah, no, I was referring to the end of September.
Yeah, end of September is 3/4, which will be our... Because we've done a 25% and 50%, so
For
we'll
sure,
do a 75%.
It'll be our 3/4 wrap up, and we'll see where we're at with stuff.
Yeah, we will.
By then. Oh my gosh, you and your laundry list of games. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're enjoying our podcast, enjoying your games.
Let us know what you've been up to.
Absolutely. We always enjoy the chats.
And also whether any of you signed up for the alphabet challenge, because I know some of you used TT and TA and such, so...
Yeah, let us know if that's something that you participated in, because it's pretty cool. So, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.